protocol that maybe you can come up and say if you want to, you want to just, okay, let us know. And then after the first, you feel free to add, what you would like to say, Mr. Mayor. But keep on.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I showed my proper respect.
Think about you in there.
Right, exactly. So, he said that we were the first African Americans he had seen that day, and it was a common experience for me. And then at that point, I had to begin to tackle the fact that it was actually very uncomfortable, these visits to the battle parks, and I couldn't quite understand why or what was going on. So when I went back to look at the story I wrote for The Atlantic, that was the main question I wanted to tackle. And what immediately became clear when you research the Civil War is the fact that there is a lack of an African-American presence at battle parks, the fact that, people like me tend to avoid the Civil War, even those of us who have an interest in history, is not a mistake. And that history has been told a certain way for so long, I can't even count how many films or books I've seen where the hero is an ex-Confederate soldier who just happened to not own slaves. He was the one that didn't own slaves. So there's a show on AMC right now with Common and some other guy. And he freed his slaves, even though he fought for the Confederates. It's always convenient in that sort of way. And I say that to say that the Civil War ended. There's some debate about this. Some people will make a larger philosophical point, but the Civil War officially ended in 1865, and after that, another war proceeded, and that was the War of History. And so in coming here tonight and being here and being, having the honor to sit up here with Dr. Smith and be on this panel, it's particularly important and special to me because it's one thing to sit around and rage at your frustrations about how history is told. It's another thing to be a part of the actual act of reversing that history. To be actually in the battle again and, look up and see these soldiers with the guns and everything and in your own way feel a part of that battle, that continuing struggle. And to see how that continues even today, 150 years after the war.
You raise an interesting question, and I want, Councilmember Smith, what is the disconnect? Is it the fact that this, the generation to my right, do they really care or do they have the time to learn? What happened? You have passion. Some would argue that this generation doesn't really know much about the civil rights legacy. Some people don't know that story, let alone the story about the whole thing with the Civil War. Where was the breakdown? What happened?
Well,